So for those of you who don't know, the legendary video game Mortal Kombat, if you've have or haven't been living under a rock, there's a fighting game, and there was a popular female character in the game called Sonya Blade. You'll hear me. You've heard me say that name, mention that name before, that character before, about how women will give you that Sonya Blade. Well, that's referencing the video game. It's a popular 90s video game. If you're a 90s kid, you know. And she had she had a special move in the game where if you were close enough, she would somersault and grab and then lock her legs around you and then toss you and slam you onto the other side of the map, right? And that was her special move. It was the leg. I don't know the specific name for it. It was called a leg grab. And I liken that. And the reason I use that nickname is because, you know, that's what some of these chicks be doing out here. It is what it is. It is what it is. But I want to talk about these women's and how much they want that milk. How much they want that milk. I can recall actual arguments I've had because I refused to nut in a woman because I didn't want to give her kids. I can recall conversations I've had with women because they didn't feel special because I wouldn't nut in them, which would lead to an argument. like, why you don't nut in me like you nut in the other girl? Like, what? What are you? Do you hear yourself? But yes, it is a thing. When in their sexual journey and career, in a woman's sexual career, once she experiences a thing she's never experienced before, and when she's experienced a height of pleasure she's never experienced before, the bar has been set. And drug addicts call it chasing the dragon. When you chasing a high, when you chase that first high that you never had before, you know what I'm saying? When you chase that first high, you spend your whole, addiction career, you spend your whole drug addiction career chasing that high. And that's what pretty much humans generally, that's what humans do when throughout their sexual careers. Once they've achieved a certain height of pleasure, they spend their entire sexual career chasing that height. Or in the previous video, I talked about how, women have given men that Sonya Blade. You know what I'm saying? And they wrap their legs around you, and they put their hand on your butt, on your hip, and they don't let you go. You know what I'm saying? Fellas notice, and they don't complain. You know what I mean? But the reason I wanted to dedicate an entire talk to it, because also on the flip side of that coin, we talk about why is there so much single motherhood, and why is there so much single motherhood in the Black community, right? It's something to think about. Now, if you want to say I'm blaming the women, go ahead. I don't care. Not this video. Maybe another video. I'd care. But in this video, I don't. Because since the beginning of time, men have been held accountable for their milk, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Like, men have been held accountable. They've been taken to court, literally. Not a court of public opinion. I'm talking about court. You know what I'm saying? Where they send you through that door on the left. Men have been held very much accountable since the beginning of time about where they pour their milk. You know what I'm saying? And so I want to dedicate this video to holding the women accountable. I said the A word. Whoa there. But yes, holding the women accountable for how bad they want that milk. I've been in instances where I've had women tell me, you better not pull out. Or they tell me, if you pull out, I don't want it no more. I ain't gonna call you back. And this is triggering to a man. Because, sex ain't as guaranteed for a man as it is for a woman. That's just the way the nature landscape is designed. This is by design. They'll just keep it simple. This is by design. By design, sex is not guaranteed for a man. So a woman threatening to withhold sex from you or leave you is threatening enough as is. Let alone pray to God you don't have abandonment issues or you know what I'm saying, whatever kind of psychological issues you may have that may be triggering on top of your triggering, you know. But since the beginning of time, men have been known, and men don't have it like that. They don't have, their DMs ain't buzzing. Most guys' DMs are not buzzing like that. They gotta send the DMs out to get it buzzing. They don't just buzz off rip. They can't. Most dudes can't post a selfie and then they DMs go up. It don't work like that for men. So yeah, so now he has to make a judgment call. He's like, damn, I want this girl to come back. She got that good. She got them yams. I need that. You know what I'm saying? Don't take that from me now. You know what I mean? And especially if he's in the middle of the act. You know what I mean? And she's like, you better not pull up. You better not pull up. And then now he's questioning, okay, does she have birth control? Does she have any form of birth control? Does she have a Plan B pills in her purse? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't necessarily, but he has to make really hard decisions. Do I spoil this moment? Because I don't want kids? You know what I mean? And yeah, and then there's moments where it's just like, the hairs on your back are standing up, and the minute you come within 2 millimeters of that thing, it's already up. You like, God, and so once you slide it in, it's like, oh my God, I ain't gonna last. God damn, she got me. I've been in instances like that, So it's like, women want that milk. Women want that milk, and I think the women need to be more open about it. Tell us how much. Don't tell us. Talk about it on the internet. Go on the internet and go on your rants and your talks and your TikToks and talk about how much you want that milk, how much you love that milk, and you wanting that milk and you loving that milk as much as you do is the reason why you have so many kids by so many different men. Come on, let's talk about it because I want this conversation to go full circle. I want this conversation to go full circle. You know what I mean? Because we do have an epidemic of single motherhood in America, and more importantly, in the Black community. You know what I mean? On a serious note, we do have that epidemic. And if you ask these women, why are you a single mother? Aside from them wanting to have a baby simply because they can't control whether they get married before their eggs, conk out. And aside from them not believing in abortion, let's talk about how much you want that milk. That's why you're a single mother. let's talk about how much you love that milk. And I think this is the theme when I've been having these talks about, women and the kind of games that they play. This is kind of the theme, the common thread that I've been on. Whereas, just stop playing in our faces. Just stop. It's 2000, whatever it is. Just stop playing in our faces. Just be more open about how much you want that milk. Be open about how much you want that milk. Be open about how you don't even like the sex if you don't get that milk. Be open about your pregnancy. Be open about your pregnancy. On another serious note, women wanting that milk has, changed lives. It's changed lives. It's shifted tectonic plates, and moved nations. Women wanting that milk is what. Now we have a whole religion spun off of a woman wanting that milk. i.e., somebody named Jesus, right? There's a whole religion spun off of that. Whole religion, a whole culture, a whole business model spun off of a woman wanting that milk and then saying it's God's baby, right? Yeah, it's God's baby. Okay. You know what I mean? A woman wanting that milk can lead to, her getting pregnant by somebody she ain't supposed to get pregnant by. And then lying about it and trying to take it to her grave. You know what I'm saying? And then getting found out on and then ruining their child's life. Cause now he has to find out who his real dad is. That's what women loving that. That's the dark side of women loving that milk. But all in all, I think we just need to be more honest and more accountable about how much women love getting that milk as opposed to how much men love giving that milk. You know what I mean? Because it's pretty redundant at this point. We know that. We know. We know. We know men love giving that milk. But we also know how much y'all love getting it. But I don't think we know to the degree of how much y'all love getting it.